Hi everyone, welcome back to Newegg TV. My name is Paul, and today we're going to be doing an overview and a quick benchmark of this new SSD from SanDisk. This is a SanDisk Ultra 120 gigabyte SSD. It's their second generation of SSDs that they've come to market with, and we don't really have a box to do an unboxing with, but I am going to take it apart. So there is a closer look at the drive itself. This is a 2.5-inch drive. You can see the SanDisk Ultra logo there in the front. It's got a matte black finish. Look at it from the side, you can see the mounting screws. It is held on with standard Phillips head screws. There on the back is the serial ATA power and data plugs. This is a serial ATA revision 2 3 gigabit per second drive. Then finally, on the bottom, we can see the information such as the model number, and this is listed as a G5. So I've disassembled this SSD real quick because I was curious what controller it used, but here we can actually also see the NAND flash modules that are included. We have 8 16 gig NAND flash modules for a total of 128 gigs. 120 of that is usable, and we can tell by the labeling actually that this NAND is actually manufactured by SanDisk, so they're using their own NAND in this SSD. On the other side, we can see our controller chip, and hooray, it's a SandForce controller, just like the shirt I'm wearing, if you guys are wondering why I'm wearing a SandForce shirt. And the controller is the SF1222, which is the 1200 series of SandForce, their second gen serial ATA revision 2 controller. And here are our Crystal Disk Mark 3.01 results. We ran a 1000 meg test and we did 3 runs. Here you can see the average scores, sequential writes right around the 220 megabyte per second mark. Sequential writes at a 120 plus megabytes per second mark. So some very respectable scores here across the board, especially if you look down here at the random reads and random writes. These are 4K at Q depth 32, which is where you really stress out the drive and see its maximum potential. We can see just under 30,000 input-output operations per second for this drive, which is a very respectable score, especially considering that this is a Generation 2 SandForce controller and a serial ATA revision 2 serial ATA revision 2 3 gigabit per second drive. And now we've loaded up AS SSD, which is another SSD benchmark. We're running version 1.6 right there. Among other things, we can see that the SanDisk SSD we're using is codenamed Regatta, so that's good to know. Other than that, we can see our numbers here for sequential reads and writes, very comparable to the results we got from Crystal Disk Mark, but about 213 megabytes per second on the sequential reads, about 117 megabytes per second on sequential writes. Some good results here as well for our 64 threaded benchmarks here, 124 megabytes per second, and access times fluttering at just under 0.1 milliseconds for read and about 0.2 to 0.3 milliseconds for writes. Overall scores, 164 for read, 175 for write, and 424 overall. We're going to switch over to the input-output operations per second results for these same tests. And here we can see in the 64 threaded reads, again, a very impressive score for a second-gen drive of 31,961 input-output operations per second. So overall, some very impressive numbers for this SanDisk Ultra 120 gig SSD. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Once again, this has been the SanDisk Ultra 120 gigabyte SSD. Featuring the SandForce 1222 controller. I'm Paul with Newegg TV. If you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe to our Newegg TV YouTube channel for more videos just like this one. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.